welcome to another beautifully hot day here in Malaysia for stage 2 of the 23rd edition of the Tour de Langkawi. We're on the second longest of this year's race, 208.3 kilometers from here in Gerik to Kota Bharu. Yesterday, though, it was Andrea Guardini who ended a 2-year drought without a victory when he popped up and took his 23rd career Langkawi stage victory. He was quick to heap praise on his Bardiani CSF teammates, and deservedly so. In particular, Paolo Simeon, he delivered him absolutely perfectly to the line for that stage victory, and this is how they did it.
Stage 1 took the riders 147.9 kilometers from Kangar to Kulim. The run out in the morning. Temperatures already in excess of 30 degrees as riders hit kilometre zero. It was to be a fast start for everyone despite the usual flurry of attacks to get proceedings underway. And the riders would head towards the first intermediate sprint of the day at Pekan Kerpan after 16 kilometres altogether. And it was Sebastian Milano of Manzano Postobon that took that ahead of Andrea Guardini, Dylan Page and Anwar Manan. As they came to the second sprint, the breakaway of the day had gone clear. Huang Bo of the Henjiang cycling team from China took the sprint ahead of Nick Zulkifli, with Mohamed Abdarrahman in third place. On to the third and final sprint of the day, and it was Boa again that out-sprinted Zulkifli from the Forker team. At this point, the gap had gone out in excess of 6.5 minutes, which was coming down rapidly as they headed towards the King of the Mountains point. Just a Category 4 climb, but it would be enough to give Huang Boa the polka dot jersey. 4 points he would take into stage 2 ahead of his 2 breakaway companions. It was all back together on the run down to Kulim and into 500 meters to go, and it was Paolo Simeon in the green and orange of Bardiani CSF that was looking to deliver the King of Langkawi, Andrea Guardini, to the line. 2 years without a victory for Andrea Guardini, but his teammates were going to deliver him perfectly to the line on the opening stage in Langkawi. And as they just rounded the final bend, the sprint opened up. And despite challenges from Junyong Seo and Mekseb Devase, it was all about Guardini.
There aren't many opportunities to climb in this year's Tour de Langkawi, and heading out of Gerik today we have a third category and a first category climb along the route. The problem is, though, that they come in the first half of the stage. In 2015, Andrea Guardini lost nearly 25 minutes to the eventual winner, Caleb Ewan. Today's stage, though, is 30 kilometres longer, so the question is, will he manage to keep up and defend that yellow jersey? If the general classification riders decide to go from the gun, they could put the sprinters into difficulty. And with that in mind, let's have a look at today's stage.
Stage 2 will take the riders 208.3 kilometres from Gerik to Kota Bharu, the second longest stage of this year's race. It's a hilly start. Category 3 climbs straight out of the blocks, 28 kilometres up to Gerik. Move on to the Category 1 climb and expect a breakaway to have gone clear at this point. Titiwangsa after 67.8 kilometres. Descending down towards the first intermediate sprint of the day. After 110.6 kilometres, back to Melantang. The second coming quite soon after at Bukit Bungka after 134.9 before the final sprint of the day at Rantau Panjang after 169.6. Race and then skirts the border of Thailand, and should the breakaway manage to have stayed clear, it'll be a fast run down towards the finish.
Feels pretty much the same. It's still really hot, so yeah, I think it's very much the same atmosphere. It's a bit of a struggle. I think we're not totally really going in the season yet. A lot of the riders haven't ridden in a lot of high heat yet. We fortunately enough went to Dubai and Oman, so we got a little exposure to it. But I think you'll see some of the riders struggling. Yeah, we do have we're looking mainly for the sprints, and then an opportunist breakaway. And The climb here, I think it's not the biggest mountain they've ever had here, so we're gonna see what we can do there.
Well, I will try to breakaway and sprint, but yesterday I tried to bunch sprint. I'm looking forward to another sprint. Yeah, this is the first time in white jersey in Langkawi. I try to keep in this jersey, but beginning is too hard, but I will try.
Definitely, I think we definitely have the horsepower, and when everything comes together, I'm sure we'll get a result. Definitely, it's my first time. It's my first HC race, and yeah, I'm excited to see what the rest of the tour brings.
Well, we wish you all the best. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Okay, on the road today, it's my night. I mean, just being with the sport director in the car and just keeping the boys alive in these weather conditions. Just we're preparing everything in the morning to ahead to be aware of these conditions. I mean, it's hot. It's 36 degrees already in 10 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, and also like in case of we have like a crash or whatever. I mean, we have the official race doctor, but as usual, if you are in the car and you're a trauma surgeon, you jump out of the car if you hear that one of your boys is on the deck. So yeah, that's my main job. I mean, even helping the sportive director during the race with race numbers and whatever, giving bottles. You're kind of everything if you work as a race doctor in a team. Cycling is my passion. I cycle for myself. Cycling is my life. My bikes at home are my babies, so I love to be on the road with Team Dimension data, seeing all, I mean, being with the boys, seeing all these beautiful areas. I mean, we never have time really to see them, but just passing by, seeing some nice spots. It's just a pleasure to be on the World Tour team.
So it's going to be another long, hot day in the saddle for the riders. Everyone here is eager to see the action. Are you ready, everyone? Let's race! Let's ride it, Away we go, everyone lined up ready for the start of stage 2 here in Gerik. The temperature gauge is already nudging over 30 degrees and it's only 10:30 in the morning. Everyone getting ready for the send-off. Looking at the wind direction today, and the riders have the possibility of a headwind for pretty much the total 208.3 kilometres. Andrea Guardini looking resplendent in that yellow jersey. He takes that 6-second advantage over Junyoung Seo of Korea into the stage. And that is the profile. So you can see we have a category 3 climb straight out of the blocks. The summit of that comes at about 28 kilometers, covered about 180.3 to go. We then have the climb at Titiwangsa. That is a category 1 climb. That comes at 67.8 kilometers, but 140.5 kilometers from the end. So Andrea Guardini lost 25 minutes on this stage. But it was previously in 2015, but 30 kilometers shorter. So the sort of general rule is thinking is that that climb is far enough from the finish, really, if the sprinters lose ground to try and get back. But the flag has dropped, and as always, the usual attacks going thick and fast off the front. Everyone looking to try and get themselves into the break of the day. This is what might put the sprinters really on the back foot. If the general classification riders really decide to go hard from the gun here and try and split the race and put the sprinters in difficulty, this could be a day where they could try and gain some significant time, and it'll depend how the yellow jersey and the other big guys
guys get over this climb and how much time they actually lose. And on the flip side of that as well, how many riders they're actually willing to sacrifice to try and bring the sprinters back up towards the front, because most of the sprinters teams do have another fast man in their midst. So for CCC Sprandi Pogavice, they've got 3 sprinters. For Bardiani CSF, as well as Andrea Guardini, Paolo Simeon, if he could get himself over the climbs, has got a handy turn of speed at the end. But we've got to look at Mekseb Devase, though, of Dimension Data, 3rd yesterday, and he could be a man that if he tries to put everyone in difficulty on the Category 1 climb, and Dimension Data super strong here, so we'll just see how this pans out. KSPO, you see the riders there in the black, and Jin Yong Seo there, man, and really is looking in great form in this race. So you can see off the front the colours of Team Sapura in the blue, as one of the KSPO riders just drops back to the team car just to have a word with the team manager. So 2 riders on the attack here, Giant and Sapura, both represented at the head of the race. So we'll see if they manage to get anything established here. It really is breathtaking scenery that the riders are going through today. So on the attack here, you've got the colours of Manzano Postobon and Teranganu. So Metkel Ayob is the rider there from Teranganu, who's gone clear. Manzano Postobon, the professional continental outfit from Colombia. This was one of their first races last year. Had a successful season, and just really looking good here. Juan Felipe Osorio, a man that was here last year. Remember him picking up some points in the King of the Mountains classification. The TSG riders in the white, blue and black there, they're coached and managed by Jeremy Hunt, British rider, Jez, former rider for the likes of Benesto, Credi Agricole in the course of his career. Also rode for Cervelo Test Team, Team Sky throughout the years. Successful professional rider, and he's really making a difference now to the Teranganu team in terms of the coaching. He has them over in his home base in Australia quite often, and I think he will be a man that really can teach this team how to race as well as providing his coaching. Sapura looking very animated here today. Still Osorio still looking like he's the strong man in this group. Metkel behind him, 2 chasers, and you can see that the peloton is starting to split here on this first climb. And this could be very early. This will be sending alarm bells around that peloton as the sprinters will be looking to try and limit their losses here. And just coming up there, there's again the colours of KFC. And it looks like Mohamed Abdurrahman that was on the offensive yesterday. It looks like he's gone clear again. And the President Commissaire just out of the sunroof. Good to see he's got a hat on his head as well today. It really is sauna-like temperatures. It's very... got a little bit of tiny bits of shade under the trees here. We skirt the border with Thailand, and they will be able to kind of see Thailand as they go up the Category 1 climb. Our breakaway group, Felipe Suaza, Abdurrahman and John Ebsen, have now got up to this group, and Andrea Guardini looks like he's got a problem here. The yellow jersey has got his hand in the air, and you can see there that his teammates are back with him. Guardini's looking for the car. This is not what he wants this early in the stage. Just having a glance around at his teammate alongside him. And the Factor bike there of last year's King of the Mountains, and he sees the KOM point ahead of him. John Ebsen battled hard throughout the race last year to take the King of the Mountains title. He's now with the Forker Amskins team of Amwan Manan. And the Danish rider races well in the Asia Tour. So Marcello Felipe there from 7-Eleven, wearing number 81. Bernardo Suaza from Manzano Postobon in the green and black. John Ebsen in the red and blue. And and then Abdurrahman on the front. So you can see here the team of 7-Eleven from the Philippines. The 7-Eleven jerseys, famous from the American team from the 1980s with the likes of Davis Finney and Andy Hampston amongst the riders that raced for them. And that iconic jersey, 7-Eleven, such a massive brand here in Asia. The 7-Eleven stores are dotted throughout Asia, and they sponsor the team from the Philippines. And you just see on the left there, 1 kilometre to go now to the top of the first KOM point. And you see the Colombian rider in the pink and black, just keeping an eye on everyone, Bernardo Suaza, just to see where Marcello Felipe is on the back. And this is the chasing group behind. And you can see 2 minutes and 45 to the chasers, 4:15 to them. This is Alvaro Duarte of Colombia, another Colombian rider, and Jair Perez. So 2 riders from Colombia, both on different teams. So Sapura and the 4 Cup Amskins team. And John Ebson just having a look around at everyone here, just trying to maneuver them into the position that he wants. And Duarte here, the 27-year-old Colombian, is really knocking out a nice rhythm here. We've got a right battle going on for the King of the Mountains points here. It's Marcello Felipe, and Suaza now opens it up. You can see there 200 metres to go towards the top. John Ebson battles back to try and take the points. Felipe is looking good as well on the left. And we switch to the head-on shot here. Felipe switches across to the side of the road, and the 7-Eleven rider right down on the top tube to go across the line there. And he takes that. So the first result, the King of the Mountains, 6 points for Felipe, 4 to Suaza. Abdurrahman takes 2, and John Ebson has to settle for 1 point. Marcello Felipe there, just adopting that familiar descending position now, made famous in the Tour de France by many riders. So a lot of riders choose that. Right down on the top tube, Perez and Duarte here. They've still got 3 minutes and 30 to close. They got a 5:15 gap back to the peloton, but over the summit there. And you can see good crowds out as the riders start the descent. And I'm impressed by the man on the back here, Muhammad Abdurrahman from KFC. He's just 20 years old, the rider from Indonesia. But it shows the last 2 days that the riders from the Asia Tour, from the various countries, not intimidated by the likes of Dimension Data, Astana, and the Pro Continental outfits that really pepper this field. They're all really willing to get themselves into the breakaways, make sure they get their sponsors on the screens. And I think it really is a testament to the way that this race has selected the teams over the last few years. They really have adopted a policy where they definitely take the World Tour teams, they take the Pro Continental teams from other countries. But when it comes to the Continental outfits or the 3rd division teams, the only Continental teams that they select from this race are all from the Asia Tour. And that has been the case for many years now, and I think it really is starting to pay dividends when you come back year on year. These, especially the likes of 7-Eleven that we've seen here many times, you really do see the improvement. The riders really benefit from this sort of speed, the distances that they're racing, the difference in the pace that you have when you've got those World Tour and Pro Continental teams to battle against, and also just helps them. It just helps you raise your confidence when you're actually up there and competing against them. Then you're not just making up the numbers. Duarte and Perez, though, they've got the leaders in this site, so it's taken them a while to get there, but they're definitely starting to get themselves back up to the leaders. In terms of the peloton, though, you can see that's now pretty much all back together there, and all just riding in formation, the various sprinters teams. Beautiful shot as we go across the bridge. And interesting as well, you see Bardiani CSF on the front of the peloton. So the next objective will be the Category 1 climb, and it goes up to just over 1,000 meters, so 1,050 meters. So it's a fairly decent summit. It's just a shame in terms of how far the finish in Kota Bharu is today from the summit of that King of the Mountains point. I think if it had been closer, I think it could have proved decisive, and I think going forwards in the race, we've just got the Cameron Highlands this year, and there is talk that we might get another climb. We've got Fraser Hill down near the Cameron Highlands as well. There's been a bit of talk about maybe that climb, just a slight change to the route, but I definitely think that we need it. And John Ebson and his teammate Alvaro Duarte here are just having a bit of a discussion, and John Ebson maybe just discussing the tactics with them, with his teammates. Marcelo Felipe on the front there. He's 28 years old now, is the man from the Philippines. Down to the front of the peloton though, and you can see here you got Androni Sidamek on the front, Androni Giacottoli in the red and whites, and it's 5 minutes and 30 seconds the time gap. Manzano Postobon getting themselves in there as well in the pink and black. They've got their man in the breakaway. I'm sure his objective of the day is to try and sweep up as many points as he can in the King of the Mountains. And then you've got Dimension Data and Astana both there as well. So starting in the various jerseys today, and Andrea Guardini leading in the points competition ahead of Jinyong Seo, and Huang Boa from Henqiang, he's got the King of the Mountains jersey. So the green jersey today is being worn by Mexeb Debese of Dimension Data. Huang Boa of, there he is right on cue, and looking good as well as Andrea Guardini just starts to drop back. Huang Boa went into the stage in the King of the Mountains jersey, and Jinyong Seo in that white jersey as the King of the Mountains. But Andrea Guardini is already starting to again drop back off the back of the group. It looked like that he had Brad Huff for company there from the rally team on the front though, and John Ebson upping the pace. You can see now we're near the summit of the second King of the Mountains point, 500 meters now to the top of Titiwangsa, and Villa Triestina, as that Luca Paccioni just starting to drop back as well. So a few of the sprinters just disappearing out of the group here, so they will have plenty of time to get back. They're just going to try and not lose too much time if they can. Duarte now starts to sprint, tries to close this one down. It's Duarte on the front. Here comes Swaza from Manzano Postobon. John Ebson not quite having the his own way in the King of the Mountains this year. As we said, he was the winner of this competition last year. Back to the front though, and it's the man in the pink and black though, Bernardo Suaza, the 25-year-old Colombian. He takes maximum points ahead of Marcelo Felipe. And remember, this is a Category 1 climb, and he takes 15 points. There you have it, 15 to 12. Duarte takes 10, Abdurrahman. Then you got Munoz Jahir and John Ebson. That's the rest of the breakaway group. We're going to take a short break. Don't go away. We'll be back soon. Welcome back to Stage 2 of the Tour de Langkawi 2018. We are on the second longest stage of this year's race, 208.3 kilometers from Gerik to Kota Bharu. So going from the west to the east coast today. Our breakaway group contains Bernardo Suaza of Manzano Postobon, Marcelo Felipe of 7-Eleven, John Ebson and Alvaro Duarte from Forca, Mohamed Abdurrahman from KFC, and Jahir Perez of Sapura. 2 minutes and 40 seconds is your time gap. So this breakaway group getting, they're very much under control. Artyom Zakharov on the front here, the national champion of Kazakhstan. And you can see a lot of faith in their riders today. And a little bit of a move now by John Ebson. And Bernardo Suaza is taking after him. We got 3 intermediate sprints coming on the second half of the stage. The first one coming in Batu Melintang with 97.7 kilometers to go. And that'll be followed by the sprints in Bukit Bunga and Pantau Penjang and Droni. Again, they've got quite a lot of options in this. John Ebson is quite animated in this group. Marcelo Felipe straight on him though. And for Androni, they've got Mattia Frapporti on the front here, but they've got Manuel Belletti is their one of their sprinters. Alessandro Bisolti, good worker he is. Kevin Rivera, Luca Chirico, and Matteo Malacelli, another strong sprinter from Androni. Very familiar team in this race, very successful over the years with the likes of Jose Serpa. Serpa always loved the climb up to Genting Highlands, lining up now for the first of the intermediate sprints. 150 metres to go in the breakaway group. You can see here really battling it out. It's that man again, Marcello Felipe from 7-Eleven. He's come into this race on great form, and he takes that sprint. The peloton just riding through the sprint point now. All of the bonus seconds have gone to the breakaways. So Felipe takes it from Duarte, Suaza and Munoz, 5.32 and 1 points. 97.7 kilometers to go. And our leading group, it's a long day to be out there in a breakaway. You can see the sign there for Kota Bharu. And on the front there, you can see Emmanuel Gerik and the gap down to 30 seconds. Gerik Zabier, the African continent champion in the road race, is doing some good work on the front here. Such a strong team that they've brought to the race. Not an out-and-out sprinter, but Mexeb Debesay, backed up by Scott Davis, Nick Demlini, Johan van Zyl and Jaco Venter. Gerik Zabier here, 10 seconds now the gap is down to, so the day is almost up for the breakaway group. And again, just like yesterday, a little bit further out from the finish than you might generally expect. It just then means it opens up the race for more attacks and more breakaways. John Ebson not willing to give up without a fight, but the peloton pretty much on them. It's going to be a bit of a wasted effort though by John Ebson. There you have it, number 17, Artyom Zakharov, just adopting that position on the front of the bars, just wrapping his hands around his brake levers, keeping the tempo nice and high here for Astana. And that points that they've got some good options still in the peloton today. Generally, for the general classification, they've got Bakhtir Kozhatayev, but Riccardo Minali and Evgeny Gidic are both fast finishers. Just hands in the air here for Team Forca. Good to see another Malaysian team, and of course getting selected when you've got the only Malaysian stage winner in your team. It does pretty much guarantee you selection. And whoa, that's interesting one from Azil Zulkifli. I've never seen that for a bit of skill, adjusting his own gears. Got to be pretty flexible to be able to do that as well. Back to the front, and it's Androni, Giacottoli, Sidemek, Astana and Dimension Data still on the front here. So quite noticeable by their absence are Bardiani, CSF, and you can see the riders now, Shihang here on the back, just filling the pockets with standard bottles of water here. Normally you see the riders going back for your cycling water bottles, lining up for the next intermediate sprint of the day, and it's a bunch kick to this one, and as many Astana jerseys that are all across the front here, and just has a quick glance back over the shoulder. So Astana really setting their stall out now for the rest of the stage, looking very animated. Yevgeny Gidic takes that from Jordan Parra, and Riccardo Minali gets up there as well, and Ruslan Chublayev takes the 1 point. So Astana really packing out the front here. Good to see Parra up there as well. Para was one of the riders from Manzano Postobon that crashed just before the final corner yesterday. He went down with Juan Sebastian Milano when they were having the run in towards the sprint. So maybe just testing his legs out, seeing how they feel for the finish. But the team manager was just saying that Carlos Restrepo was telling me that they're both all right, just taking a bit of the paint off, a little bit of skin lost. And just seeing the white jersey as the best Asian rider, the Volkswagen white jersey of Junyong Seo. He is a real talent, this guy. We had a chat to him before the stage. As you said previously, he's been a stage winner in this race before, but just seeing him sprinting it out yesterday against the likes of Andrea Guardini, and again, the man from South Korea, not intimidated at all by the big name sprinters. And I think if he manages to take a sprint victory in this race as we go forward, there's lots of opportunities for the sprinters to take stages. If he manages to pull off that would be a huge victory for him, but also in terms of it's really cementing his position on the Asia Tour as a rider from South Korea. I think sort of people would really start to sit up and take notice of him if he manages to pull off a victory like that. Two riders now going clear. Hen Chang, the red, white and black colours, and the Mitchelton Bike Exchange. So we've got Liu Jianpeng from Hen Chang, and we've got New Yukui from the Mitchelton Bike Exchange team. So the feeder team for the Mitchelton Scott team. This is the under-23 squad, and there you have it, confirmation. Good again to see Hen Chang in the break with Liu Jianpeng. They had Huang Bo in the breakaway group yesterday. Always ride those beautiful look bikes to Hen Chang. And Liu Jianpeng was the best rider in the Tour of Hainan last year. Took 7th overall and had a good season last year. Also took a stage victory in the Tour de Floreth as well previously. They've got 1 minute and 10 seconds now. New Yukui from the Mitchelton team is just 23 years old. Hence why he's found a spot in this development team. And he took a silver medal in 2014 in the National Road Race Championships in China. So these two riders, they'll know each other well. So good to see them again combining at the front. This is what we want to see, two riders that are well known on the Asia Tour. And I think this the team, the Mitchelton Bike Exchange and Mitchelton Scott, both really focusing a lot on the Asia Tour. 30 seconds though is the time gap. Astana recognised the danger of letting these two riders go clear, and quite fitting with two Chinese riders on the attack. That's the Beijing Mosque that you see there. It's a mosque from this town in a Chinese design. But we're lining up now for the next sprint in Pantao Penjiang. So these two riders are going to battle it out for maximum points and maximum seconds. And New Yukui manages to manoeuvre Liu Jianpeng through towards the front. The Mitchelton Scott rider just out of the saddle, and again this will really help him being in this team. But Liu Jianpeng just winds up the sprint now on the front. Can Yukui come through? It's a good battle, throwing the bikes to the line, and I think they might have to take a photo on that one. I'll go to a photo finish. I think Liu Jianpeng thinks he's got it. And just crossing the line there in the 3rd place. Evgeny Gerik just rolls through there ahead of Giuseppe Fonzi. So that's confirmation. New Yukui takes it from Liu Jianpeng, with Gerik and Fonzi leading the peloton through. So good result there by the Mitchelton Bike Exchange rider. just has a little look over the shoulder. I think the peloton now are starting to close them down. There they are, the catch almost made. So 2 days, 2 breakaways. We had a late one yesterday. Now it's lining up for a sprint finish. But the big question is, who is left in this peloton to take the stage victory? The last check we had, the yellow jersey was over 6 minutes behind. So we'll see which ones of the sprinters have made it over those climbs and back into this group. There's Mattia Frapporti, and Matteo Malocelli is just ahead of him. So he's just shepherding Malocelli. As we said, he's got a bit of a kick on him. Good to see Manzano Postobon up here. As we said, there were 2 sprinters hit the deck yesterday just before that final corner. So clearly have recovered and ridden themselves into the stage over the course of a long, hot day. 10 kilometers now from the finish. The Malaysian national team jerseys there. You can see the black and the bright yellow just near the back. I'm sure we'll see plenty of those jerseys on the attack as this race goes on. And the pace definitely nice and high as we head in towards Kota Bharu. It's going to be a fast run into the finish. The final 5 kilometers are pretty straight. Just a few little kinks. There's a right-hand bend, though, coming just before the finish. Then it kicks round to the left and then runs up towards the line. And it's now the orange jerseys of Team Rally that are up there. Team Rally, they've got Eric Young, their sprinter, so watch out for this team in orange. And they've got, we had a chat with Danny Pate before the stage. Good to see Benalong up here as well, just mixing it in for this sprint. The orange jerseys of CCC's Brandi Polkovice. So remember, we've said they've got 3 riders that they can watch out for. Alan Banasek rode well yesterday. Marco Kump is a very successful rider on the Asia Tour. So we're seeing those orange jerseys coming up towards the front, as well as those Astana jerseys. So will it be the nod to Gerik today? Will it be Riccardo Minali? He's a fast sprinter, and he'll be looking for what could be his first big victory as a pro if he manages to take a stage here. 3 kilometers to go, and again, great to see the St. George Continental team from Australia getting themselves up there. 1 kilometer to go. Now battling for this one. You can see no team has a full lead out here, and it's Androni Giaccatoli that are here. And you see that Kazakh national champions jersey gets in there. They swing through that tight turn. They just run a little bit wide, and into the barrier goes the Androni Giaccatoli rider. There's Paolo Simeon, though, in the green, the white, and the orange. Minali is there in second wheel. Malocelli is also up there. Young, you can see, in the orange, but Astana, it's Gerik now that's leading out for Minali. Minali now opens it up with 150 meters to go. Paolo Simeon is trying to challenge, as is Malocelli, but straight down the center, it's 3 Italians on the front, and it's Minali that takes it. A fantastic victory for Astana, and there you have it. Beautiful lead out by Yevgeny Gerik. Paolo Simeon is challenging Malocelli, just wrestles his way through that gap for Androni, but he had time to sit up and celebrate, and a beautiful victory for the Italian and Astana. Great day out there from Gerik to Kota Bharu. There you saw him, Riccardo Minali makes his way on to the podium. An Italian whitewash, 1, 2, 3 today. Astana, Androni, Giacottoli and Bardiani CSF. And there's your result. Riccardo Minali from Matteo Malocelli, Paolo Simeon, followed by Gidic, Compaccioni, Groves, Young, Junyong Seo and Dylan Page rounds out that top 10. Onto the podium, another good day for Junyong Seo. Gets himself up there in 9th place on the stage and retains the white jersey as the leading rider from Asia. And there you have it. Junyong Seo ahead of Yevgeny Gidic with Nick Zulkifli, then Felipe Yuki, Abdurrahman Jampeng, Matamin So Domson and Siriona Chai rounding out that top 10. Riccardo Minali, of course, back on to the podium again. He now takes the lead in the sprinters competition. So also leading now in that green jersey. Probably one that he can really target as the race goes on. 23 points now for Riccardo Minali ahead of Andrea Guardini with Gidic in the third. Junyong Seo still well up there. Malocelli, Boer, Paccioni, Devise Simeon and Caden Groves, the young Aussie, still in there. On to the podium. Great day out there for the rider from Manzano Postobon, Bernardo Suaza. The King of the Mountains jersey now switches from the rider from China over to this man from Manzano Postobon and Colombia. Have it, Bernardo Suaza, 19 points. Marcello Felipe with 18, so it's still pretty tight at the top. Mohamed Abdurrahman up there for 11 points for KFC in 3rd place. And the all-important one for Riccardo Minali from Astana. He now takes the lead in the 23rd edition of La Tour de Langkawi. It's not a big gap, but for the sprinter taking that stage victory and the yellow jersey, it's a big day for him. All of the jerseys on the podium, so leading in yellow and green for Minali. And we have it 5 seconds ahead of Junyong Seo. Matteo Malocelli in 3rd at 5 seconds, so still tight at the top.
Finally, I win, and the team was fantastic. It was a hard stage because this climb was also many K to finish, but it's really long and really hard. And yeah, today really great, good job of my teammates, and I'm super happy.
Today beginning climb is very hard for me. Before the comb 3 kilometers I dropped in the peloton, but I keep trying to chasing the peloton. I make a small group and I catch in the downhill. Today I get the sprint win, get yellow jersey, very near the victory, but today no good position and just a 9th place finish.
We'll be here until the end of the tour, so until 25th, and then our booth here got promotions, so you can just drop by at the finishing line of every stage and then you just can get a good deal from us. We have bike carriers, and then we have backpacks, and then yeah, with good deals normally, yeah.
Well, there you have it, the end of a really blisteringly hot day here in Malaysia. We pretty much crossed the country from west to east here to Kota Bharu. But another day for the Italians, filling the top 3 spots on the podium, and a really important victory for Riccardo Minali of Astana, and a really popular one amongst his peers as well. Looking ahead to tomorrow, he takes over in the green jersey as the best sprinter, but more importantly, he takes that yellow jersey from his fellow countryman, Andrea Guardini. It's 166 kilometres tomorrow from Kota Bharu down to Kuala Terengganu. It couldn't really get any flatter. Make sure you join us. The action's getting hotter and hotter, just like the weather. I'll leave you with a glimpse of the map, but join us tomorrow. From me, Martin McDonald, it's bye for now.
Stage 3 sees the riders take 166 kilometres from Kota Bharu to Kuala Terengganu down the east coast of Malaysia. Early sprint for the riders after 20.6 kilometres. Potential crosswinds as we skirt the coast all the way down towards the finish. Second sprint of the day comes at Kuala Bharu after 51.3 kilometres. And the third and final sprint of the day comes after 101.2 kilometres covered at Pantai Pennarik. Expect a fast day for the sprinters, but there's always that opportunity for a breakaway, trying to stay away to the finish. This was the opening stage in 2017, and it was won by Australia's Scott Sunderland. Can he win again?
Terima kasih.